Welcome to Go Vote Omaha, presented by the League of Women Voters of Greater Omaha. I'm Geri Simon, a League member and your host. Each week we'll talk about issues that are important for elections. We hope to inspire you to talk to your friends, family, and neighbors and coworkers about these issues. And most important, when election time comes around, we hope to help you be ready and willing to go vote. Today, we have a couple of guests from the League. We have our president of the League of Women Voters, Gail Formanack. Welcome, Gail. And Maya Crawford-Gray, another League member, to talk about belonging to the League of Women Voters and what the League does. So we'll start with Gail. Gail, as the president of the League, tell us about yourself and what attracted you to the League, what got you started and involved.
Well, working with women's issues has always been a passion of mine. Since my early adulthood, I was a member of an organization called Business and Professional Women, which started back basically at the same time as the League of Women Voters, right about the time women got the right to vote. And through my involvement with them, I worked on a project that was a collaboration between BPW, Business and Professional Women, and the League. It was a Get Out the Vote campaign. And then I also met the president of the League at the time, and she asked me to join, and I said, yeah, I think I would. I'm a lifelong learner. I'm an educator, a school librarian by trade who went on to become an administrator, and it was just the kind of thing that kind of inspired me to learn more about the issues that are affecting our nation.
Okay. And you've stuck with the League. How long have you been a League member?
I've been a League member, I think, about 11 years now.
Okay.
So
so why stick with the League and not go with some other organization?
Well, there are plenty of organizations out there, but the League is well established, very sound in its practices, and it's been around a long time. So again, there's great leadership, a lot of wonderful minds in the League, lending their expertise to all of the issues that we study.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about what's the mission of the League of Women Voters?
Well, the mission, I always put it in my words in a nutshell, is to increase voter participation and to educate voters so they're better prepared to vote. I'll read you the official mission, which is to encourage the informed and active participation in government. And we also work to increase understanding on those major public policy issues. And then we also do try to influence policy through education and advocacy. Okay.
I think the National League talks about, one of the things the League does is, the trademark phrase is making democracy work. And that kind of leads into, would you talk about the 3 levels of the League of Women Voters?
Yes, just as we have 3 levels of government, our federal, state, and local, we have 3 levels of the League. And again, I think they're kind of parallel. I guess the National or U.S. League busies itself more with the broader issues that affect all people in all of the states. And we have a nice, wonderful policy manual from the National League that, they've done a lot of work on issues. Then the State League takes on state issues. And then our local league, we look more locally, the Omaha, Greater Omaha area, to see what is needing to happen, and we have a local program. So again, the 3 different levels, and we really kind of cover all of the issues in all of those levels.
So if you join one level of the League, like the local league, you're a member at all 3 levels?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. One of the things that confuses people, I think, who aren't familiar with the League to start with, is how we treat political parties and candidates versus how we deal with issues. Can you talk about that difference and kind of lay it out so that it's clear as to what the difference is with how we deal with those 2 things?
Well, we are officially nonpartisan, which means we do not endorse any candidates or political parties. However, we do take positions on issues, so it's not that we're not political. We do study issues and we take a position after our members take a good, strong look at all of the research, and then we make a decision as to if we're going to support or, I guess, oppose a certain piece of legislation. But again, we will never endorse candidates or political parties.
Okay. And how does the League study issues? What do we do?
Well, there's quite a process by which our league members take on what is called a study. And so, again, being a librarian, I can appreciate the fact that we're going out to get the information. We look at all sides of an issue and then really look at the impact on the welfare of, I guess, the people that we're looking for. So we really make a decision based upon all of those factors.
Okay, and that includes all the membership as we're, when a study recommendation comes forth, then who makes the decision as to if the league takes a position or not on an issue?
That's a very good question. So we do have meetings. We have an annual meeting locally, for instance. So if we have a local study, then we'll have a vote of our local members on the position if we're going to take a position. That would happen again at the state level, and then we have representatives who go on to the national convention and they take votes on those position statements at the national level. So it is a representative thing. It's not a small select group of people sitting in Washington, D.C. at the national office making these decisions. It is a grassroots effort.
Okay. Does the league ever take any stands on issues or laws, statutes that it hasn't studied?
No. We are pretty much specifically prohibited from taking a position on an issue that hasn't been studied. So we feel very comfortable in taking positions on things where there's already a national position statement. If the issue comes up at the state or local level, we feel like we can have that to support us. But if it has never been studied, we do not take a position.
Okay. And that sort of leads to the league working with other groups. Do we form coalitions? Do we work with other groups? Or do we just sort of go it alone on issues?
Oh no, we certainly are well known for being collaborative. As I'd mentioned before, my first real work with the league was when I was a member of another organization that had some goals, and so we were collaborating at the time on a get out the vote in the local area. But certainly we are working with other organizations. Locally we have formed some coalitions with groups such as OTOC, or Omaha Together One Community, especially regarding the issue of behavioral health. We also are a member of the Nebraskans for Public Safety, which is the group that is opposing the death penalty, and the Pro-Choice Coalition, among others.
Okay.
So we are well known for being collaborative.
Okay. And we do, even if we don't form a coalition with a group, we do attend meetings of other community groups as well.
Right. Networking is critical, and so we're always looking for our members to go out and meet others of like mind, and we feel like we have a lot to offer any coalition or other group because we have a lot of research behind our positions, and so we're always willing to lend that to the discussion.
Okay. And we do parade quite a bit, don't we?
Yes, we do. So we're out there trying to let the community know that we're here, and especially we're trying to let the community know that we want them to exercise their right to vote.
Okay. Of course, we talked a little bit in the past with our voter services chair, Ann Charlson, about registering voters and getting out the vote and having those kinds of opportunities in the community. Another part of what we do in terms of talking about issues and advocating on issues is talking to our legislators. So how does the league do that?
Well, certainly we have a couple of different methods. We do at times engage our members to become official lobbyists, where they actually register and go down and testify in front of our legislators regarding issues upon which the league has taken a position. In other cases, we encourage our members to exercise their own rights and to be advocates for the issues with their own legislators. And so there are a number of different methods, but we're always trying to educate our members and the public about the issues so that they can make their views known and let their legislators know about their views.
Okay. So so can any league member speak for the League of Women Voters? When you talk to a legislator, do you tell them you're a league member or?
Well, that's a little tricky. We always say that if you are speaking on behalf of the league or representing the league, that is really only the president's role or the president's designee, because we don't want too many people speaking and maybe confusing issues. However, again, we always want to make sure that our members have the tools they need to advocate our positions as an individual, as a constituent. And so they're not speaking necessarily on behalf of the league, but we are wanting them to be armed with the knowledge that they need to advocate as they see a need to do so.
Okay, so they could email or call their representative,
yes.
their senator, and say, I'm a constituent, for one thing.
Oh,
and
yes.
Here's what I think on the issue.
Here's what I think, and
Okay.
if they want to cite the fact that the league has done a study and this is where their information came from, that's fine. I think in many cases the league is well respected in the fact that we do this nonpartisan work, and that our policy studies are well done and, again, nonpartisan.
Okay. So you talked about the league doing lobbying. Can you talk a little bit about what we lobbied for in this past session of the unicameral?
Well, I would say one of the things that we are known for is our stance against any type of legislation that would require voter ID. We are passionate about the fact that we feel that everybody should be able to go to the polls and vote without producing some kind of a piece of paper, And so we want any kind of those restrictions that come about in a bill to be, to go nowhere. So we want to keep it open to everybody. So those are the things that we always are passionate about and we lobby about.
Okay.
And that typically comes up every year. And I'm sure that because we do have a stance on the death penalty, I'm sure that we probably had some lobbying presence there. Our stance is that we do not support the death penalty. And so, of course, that was a major discussion in the last unicameral.
Okay. And how about, another issue that we dealt with also was, and I think this is where our coalitions came in, was on supporting the expansion of Medicaid and
yes.
what happened with that on the state level.
Yes, and we are in support of expanding Medicaid as a basic right for people to have a level of health care available to them. And so we have formed a lot of coalitions regarding that, and of course it yet has not passed, but we'll continue to be supportive of that if there is another bill that comes forward.
And that is expected to come up in this next session, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Okay, then do we do any lobbying or advocating on the Douglas County Board level or City Council level here in Omaha? Or?
We have various levels of, monitoring of our local politics. We try to get people to, monitor what's going on, attend board meetings, or, monitor the minutes. And so if there are issues that we feel our league our voice needs to be heard, then we do take positions and lobbying in those regards, I guess. So, yes.
Okay. And then we talked about one of the main missions of our local league or our state league is educating voters. And can you talk a little bit about how, this program is one way we're educating voters, but we do a lot of other things that educate voters. So would you talk about those a little bit?
Yes, and we're excited about this opportunity to educate voters prior to the 2016 elections. But probably our best known effort is the Voter's Guide. The Voter's Guide has been around for a long time. It's well known in the community. We do questionnaires to all of the candidates for all of the races, and we publish the answers so that people who are preparing to vote will know how the candidates stand. And so the Voter's Guide is a well-known education effort. And just in the last couple of cycles, we've also gone online with that. We now have Vote 411, which is a really wonderful tool that is available through the National League. We actually get address information from the election commissioner, put it in, so somebody could type in their address and actually find out what precinct they're in and who the candidates are. So you really have all of the information you need right at your fingertips if you have access to this online tool.
Okay. And so that, as well as the printed guide, allow you to compare side-by-side candidates who are running for the same office.
Right. Very valuable, very valuable.
Okay.
And in addition, we are always doing programs to educate not only our members, but they're open to the public. So we'll invite legislators in to speak to us at our various programs. And in the past, we've done really big programs where we've tried to attract people from throughout the community.
Okay, so the kind of public policy programs that you're talking about, we might even do those even if the league doesn't have a position on that particular issue that's being talked about. We do both sides of an issue?
Yes, definitely. I can see one of those that might come up in the future. We don't have a policy or a position statement on the use of marijuana for medical purposes. However, I think that is an issue that will be coming up in the legislature again, and so we might do some type of an education piece on that topic and bring in both pro and con so people have some information upon which to base their opinion.
Okay. And again, that sort of bolsters our willingness to be balanced on certain issues when we don't have a position, that when you're talking about being nonpartisan, that kind of
Exactly.
leads into that
Right.
point of view and our reputation for
Right.
being fair and balanced.
That's exactly right. We're known for that.
Okay. And let's talk a little bit about this, specifically this local league, and what kinds of programs, events. Are we going to do any candidate forums this year? What kinds of things do we anticipate doing this next year?
Well, with the election coming up, we will again partner with the Omaha Press Club, and we have in the past always done some type of candidate forum or debate, depending upon whether it's the primary or general election. And typically we'll do that for the local, well, the U.S. legislative district here in Omaha. So we typically get those candidates to come in and do a forum. When the last mayoral election was happening, we did a candidate forum. I think we had 5 candidates that we gave an opportunity to speak, and we got to hear from them. So we will definitely be doing those kinds of events. And then in addition, we do monthly programs where we have interesting speakers. We also will probably do some kind of a big event. I'm guessing on the topic of the death penalty, since we do have a lot of voters who will be going to the polls. It looks like it's going to be on the ballot. Mm-hmm. So we will definitely try to provide some educational background information on that issue for the voters prior to the election.
Okay. And right now, do we know of any other ballot issues that will be on that ballot, or do you think, does that seem to be the only one will be there?
That's the only one that I'm familiar with. I'm sure there might be some city charter amendments or something like that, but I don't know what the contents of those
And is that
would be.
something that we would let voters know about, if those charter issues came up, that we would have
If
some
we'd
information
have a
about?
position on those, we would certainly let them know.
Okay. Well, it's another part of educating voters and others about issues is the ability to get information you talked about. And so how does a person access the information that the league does have, studies, other information, issues? How do you go about doing that?
Well, we have a robust website at all of the levels, both the U.S. League, the State League, and then our local league. So those would be places where you could go get information. In fact, this guide on the issues is all online. So you could go and check out our website at the I guess that's at the national level, and you'd be able to find our issues and the position statements along with the background and why we chose that position. Other ways, we do have Facebook. I believe we're on Twitter, so we're using social media to get out the word. So lots of ways. And of course this show. So we hope that viewers will take advantage of this opportunity to learn more about the issues prior to the election.
That's true. And also if people want to know about issues, they can go to govotoomaha@gmail.com and give us feedback, send in questions, ask for information about issues, and we will respond to that.
That's great.
So, so the national site is, it's lwv.org, is that the?
lwv.org, yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we've talked a lot about what the League is, and let's talk about membership in the League. Who can join the League of Women Voters?
Absolutely anybody. We take, well, I should say, probably, I don't know if there's an age limit. Do we have an age limit?
I think we have to be 18
I
to
think you
join.
do have to be 18.
Of voting age.
Voting age. Anyone voting age or above, male or female. We do have male members, and we'll take anybody. Yeah, we definitely want people to join us in our work, and you know, different levels of participation. You certainly don't have to be willing to take office, you know, but you can certainly support the League through your membership.
Okay. And, well, you mentioned that men can join the League. Now, some people might say, wait a minute, you're the League of Women Voters. So when was it that have men always been able to join the League? Or?
I don't believe so. I believe historically probably the 70s is when that changed, and that was about the time that women were fighting hard for the Equal Rights Amendment, but it was also, hey, okay, if we were looking for equal rights, I suppose we should allow men to join us
and encourage them to join us, right?
And encourage them to join in the effort. So,
okay.
Yeah, definitely, we do allow men.
And do we know why why did we keep the name? Why didn't we change the name at that time? When we
Well, I think it was kind of historical. We had a brand, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
We had a well-known, I guess, commodity, so we wanted to keep that name.
Okay. And if you want to join the local league, there's a cost of membership, so can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, the annual cost of dues is $60, so it's really quite reasonable, and I think Maya will talk a little bit about some of the benefits.
Yes, I think so. Scott, one thing I want to talk about is that if somebody has trouble paying that $60, can they still join? How can they get around a financial obstacle to joining?
Yes, if it would be burdensome, we certainly do have some scholarships available or payment plans. So we definitely would like everyone to join, even if finances are a problem.
Okay, great. Thank you, Gail, so much for being here. Oh, you're welcome. And now we will talk with Maya Crawford-Gray a little bit about her experience with the League of Women Voters and find out why you joined the League. What drew you to the League of Women Voters, and why did you join, Maya?
Well, actually, how I ended up joining the League of Voters, I actually went to an event and I didn't know that the League was involved with it. It was the showing of the movie Selma, and they had an event at the Exarban Cinema where they were basically allowing youth to go and to see the movie for free. And so I took my son and my nephew, well, two of my nephews, to see it. And I just thought that was a wonderful event and a great thing to do. So when I went afterwards, the president then of the League of Women Voters, they had a little forum afterwards, and she spoke and she encouraged people to join the League of Women Voters. And I was like, well, this is great. I didn't know that I had heard of the League of Women Voters before because I had heard of them sponsoring like national debates. And then I had also gotten that wonderful voter's guide in the mail before. And I thought, this is great when you gave all this information about the different candidates that I could compare. So when I believe it was Peggy Adair, who was the president at the time, I talked to her after the movie, and she gave me some information and encouraged me to join. And I just thought, well, wow, this just sounds like a great organization. I liked the event that we had, and then I knew about the voter's guide, and so I was thinking, yeah, I think this is something that I would really want to do. So I came to the new member orientation and met a great bunch of women and thought, wow, this is something I really would want to be involved with. And then at the time also, Peggy had gave me this little guide here that kind of talked about the different things that the League did. So I knew you guys probably encouraged voting and that type of thing, but I didn't know about like the dine and discuss, where you have a chance to meet with candidates and talk about issues. I didn't know about the lobbying and the advocacy, so I found out it went more just beyond voting, that there was ways that I could become involved. Instead of just kind of at home yelling at the TV set and getting excited, I said I can channel that energy in positive ways in the community. So I was happy to join and really enjoyed being a part of it since.
And you've become pretty active then. You're involved in like the running and winning program. Talk about that a little bit.
I am involved in the running and winning. I actually joined the committee, and I'm looking forward to that event at UNO in October. I believe it's going to be October 28th. And that's an event where we're trying to encourage young ladies to be to possibly be candidates or be involved in campaigns for political office, which I think is a great thing, because I think we need more women representation in our legislature and even further up, presidency, maybe one day, all of that. So I got involved in that, and then the book club, I've actually went to some of those meetings as well, and some of the advocacy. I actually volunteered to be an observer for the Omaha Public School Board. So it's just, I've been involved in a lot, so it's been a great experience.
That's wonderful. And what other kind of benefits do we get as a league member? Do you get magazines? Do you get those types of things?
I get the newsletters, and I've been made aware of the websites, and then I get I believe it's the League of Women Voters, the guide where you're talking about the different positions.
Right.
So I think one of the great advantages is kind of what Gail mentioned, is that all the information that the League provides. So when I go out and vote, I feel like I'm an educated voter, that I'm knowledgeable, instead of, I think the presidency, you kind of get a lot with that, but this allows me to get a lot more information about local and even state issues.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Thank you both for being here today to talk about the League of Women Voters. For the League of Women Voters of Greater Omaha, I'm Geri Simon, reminding you to inform yourself about the issues, talk to others about them, and when election time rolls around, go vote, Omaha.